video games are for nerds. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about them. That's why you're listening to The Week in Gaming, the only gaming podcast that breaks down the last 7 days and tears games apart from the inside. Ugh. So forget your worries, open your ears, and join Simon Miller and a co-host for the entertainment chatter you need. Also, screw Dark Souls.
Hello and welcome to The Week in Gaming. My name is Simon Miller, and while we have already done one in 2019, I'm also going to say Happy New Year, because I think this is the last episode where I can realistically do it before I start to look like an asshole. Now, this is quite an exciting episode of The Week in Gaming, because if you do listen to my podcast content on the Simon Miller Podcast Network, as I've just called it, you know that patrons do come on to chat to me here and there. In fact, we have a dedicated episode on the wrestling podcast for that. But every now and then, people say, it always surprise me. I always assume the wrestling podcast, because you should never assume, but I do. But every now and then, someone wants to be on the gaming podcast. So I thought, you know what, we're going to keep it how it's meant to be. We're going to keep the structure intact, because that's what people like listening to. So not only, as always, is my man Sam on the line. Sam, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing very well,
Good, good. Completely new for both of us. We've also got Patreon member Jason. Jason, how are you doing today?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
Good. I know you do. Thank you, man. Like, you support me. Both you and Sam are the reasons I'm able to do all of this stuff. So I can't thank you enough. So as it's a bit different, Jason, we'll start with you. We had a quick chat before we started recording. Not only have you told us that you've got some cool story about how you grew up with games, but just give us a taste of, what is it about games you love, what games you're into, all the kind of the bullet points that you tell someone when you just found out, oh, wow, you like games too.
It's a weird one because I grew up with a kind of a Master System, and I got into it a bit late. I was about 8 years old, I think.
Yeah.
And I jumped from Master System to the PlayStation. So I missed the Mega Drive, I missed the Super Nintendo. So my mind was absolutely just blown when I got the PlayStation. Through the PlayStation, I got into just like action games and like RPGs, like Final Fantasies and stuff like that. But as I've got older, I've kind of moved away from really massive video games, like 100+ hours, and I kind of gravitate to games what I call the A to B games, more linear experiences. So games like 2016 Doom, love that game.
Damn right you did. Damn right you did. Everyone loves 2016 Doom.
To be fair, like 90s FPS is my favorite genre. If a game is claiming it's harkening back to 90s FPS, I will probably play it. And it's either going to be amazing or it's going to be completely not what it's saying it is.
Do we get many games like that anymore? I don't. The only FPS, I think that's probably because obviously Doom I played loads, but then top of my head I can't actually. What else comes out these days? It's like an old school FPS. There
was the 2 Shadow Warrior remakes, which were amazing. They were amazing. I love those games.
Was that that wasn't Devolver, was it? Who made those Shadow Warrior games?
Flying Wild Hog, I believe.
Oh, I don't know who
the developer.
I don't know who that is. Sam, have you got any? We don't really talk about old person shooters on this podcast.
There was one called Dusk a while ago that was trying to do that whole. It looked like that as well, which all like blocky and stuff. And there was another one that was set aboard a spaceship. It was a roguelite sort of thing, but I can't remember what that one was called. So you get a few.
Would that be called Strafe by any chance?
Strafe, yes. Strafe.
Yeah, that game was a disappointment. So we're rather than talking about that.
Oh, why? Now I want to know now. Why was Strafe a disappointment?
Because the marketing was like, oh, it's too hardcore to handle, and all this, like, harking back to like Quake 2 and that kind of those kind of like late 90s kind of shooters, and it wasn't that at all. It was just like it was like a roguelike, like permadeath and stuff like that, which I don't get on with those games at all. With that kind of old school 90s FPS kind of graphic style. So it was only the graphic style that it was really kind of harkening back. I didn't feel it in the gameplay whatsoever.
Oh, man, so. I didn't even hear of that game. So so you skip a generation. So yeah, like you say, you get to the PlayStation, you're like entered this world of just technology that's mad. But what kind of stuff? Like, I mean, obviously, I imagine that was a long while ago now, and it was. I know it was. So, what do you like playing today other than sort of, your A to B games you mentioned? Like, what are the things you keep coming back to?
That's a hard question, because I've got a very kind of like short attention span anyway, so I tend to jump around a lot. Like at the moment, I've set up my old 360, and I'm trying to I bought a hard drive so I can play original Xbox with backward compatibility.
All right, so
I've got like a 100+ Xbox collection.
So you go old school basically. Well,
yeah, pretty like
is Xbox 360 old school now? I don't even know.
You probably get some people like, no, actually, I think you'll find.
Isn't the rule like 20? It's got to be 20 years old before it's retro, right?
That's the whole argument. That's the whole argument. I see people arguing all the time. So for me, retro is we finish one generation and we move into the next. That is now retro content by the, by literally it is like, if you look at it, what that term actually means. But some people don't like that. Some people get really mad about it. So yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, the Xbox 360 came out in what, 2005? Is that right?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Yeah.
So 13 years old, that's got to be retro this stage. And also, that's terrifying. How the hell has it been 13 years? No, 14 years technically since well, not really, but still, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That scares the crap out of me.
I just feel old, yeah.
It does make me feel old, yeah. I mean, ridiculously so. I remember when I got an HD TV for all that stuff, and just looking at an HD TV was like the second coming. And now, obviously, TVs are whatever they are, but they weren't what they were back then. Oh man, that absolutely scares the crap out of me.
I played the PlayStation 3 SD for the longest time. Then it was just like, you can hook that up with HDMI. Oh, can I? Oh, and it's just like mine completely just.
Oh
blind.
Man, we all do that. I think you did that as well, didn't you, Sam? Or am I making that up?
I had that with 4K.
Oh, did you? Well, I don't. The problem with 4K is to see the actual difference is minor at best. But with high definition, when you do actually flick it, it is like, it's a huge jump. I think that's a problem a lot of games have nowadays. It's like that a lot of people, when a new console comes out, expects to see the kind of jump we had then. And when you don't get it, people are disappointed. But you're never going to get that again unless they come up with, I don't even know, whatever the equivalent of HD would be in 10 years. But, I don't know what the hell that could be because I don't believe anything like it actually exists. So what's your favourite game ever, if you had to pick one? I mean, obviously it changes every day, but...
My favourite game of all time, Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 2?
Yes.
Why 2? I know why 2, but I'll let you answer it anyway.
Because Mass Effect 1 was a janky piece of shit, to be fair.
Well, there we go. Did you think that Mass Effect was a janky piece of shit before you played 2? Because I know a lot of people liked Mass Effect, the first one, and they played the second one and went, oh, actually, no, this one's like 1,000 times better.
Yeah, I played them back to back. So I put 14 hours into the first game. Basically, the world and characters got me through that game mostly. And then I basically booted up Mass Effect 2. I put about 50 hours into Mass Effect 2. And I never completed the third game, so I don't know. I kind of know the ending anyway. I know the controversy, but never really got round to finishing the third game. I think I got burnt out by that point. But yeah.
That does happen. Also, the third game had that ending that everybody hated with the little kid. I forgot about that until that very moment. The internet went all crazy because some kid was behind the Reapers or something. What did you play 3, Sam?
I played 1, and obviously I know about 3's ending because everyone on the internet. I played 1, and I've been meaning to get around to 2 and 3. I didn't find 1 that it was like the threshold base level of janky compared for the year it was. You know what I mean? But when you were in the vehicle, that was shit. That was real shit.
Oh, that Mako was awful.
Yeah,
awful.
But I do want to go back and complete them because I've just got Andromeda because it's £8 on PlayStation for the deluxe edition. So I'm going to give that a go at some time. So I should probably do it's different, so I can do Andromeda first or whatever. It's not a problem. But I do want to play 2 and 3 again.
Did you play Andromeda, Jason?
I did. For about 20 hours, I think.
Wow, that's low. I thought you just like 20 minutes. 20 hours is low. Well, you must have liked it.
I didn't think it was that bad, I don't really understand the controversy. I understand the face animations were a bit dopey and whatnot, but I thought the gameplay was solid. I thought it was just like, I'm back in Mass Effect again. I didn't see the real issues there. That's just me though. I'm stupid. Like no one listened to me.
No, dude. Never back down from your own opinions, my friend. Stand by them and stand by them strong. But no, Jamie, I mean, I want to talk about Anthem anyway, and we touched upon it last week. But so Sam, you're actually going to play all 4 of them back to back? Did you say?
I don't have a plan to play them back to back, but I will play them at some point.
Right.
Do it for charity, man. Do it for charity.
Yeah, you should do it for charity. Everyone does that. But they do. I always find it a bit weird. I'm going to play games for charity. But that sounds fun. I'll do that for free. I'm joking. So, and I never played Andromeda because for me, by the time I finished Mass Effect 3, and I did get a bit burnt out by all the social media craziness with that kid because I was like, it was fine. That's the way they wanted to end it. You can choose to like it or not like it, but I don't think we have to berate them to the point that they change the idea. But obviously, Andromeda has been described as the budget version of Mass Effect, the one that felt like it was made by the B team and, various other barbs. And honestly, I didn't play Andromeda, like I say, because I was done with Mass Effect, but I wasn't a massive fan of Dragon Age Inquisition that we've talked about. But again, the parity is there because Sam really likes it. So why, taking the silly stuff out of it, because I know a lot of people moaned about, the facial animations aren't very good. I don't think that makes or breaks the game, really. Sure, you can add it on top of your list of things you don't like about it once the cracks start to show. But this, to me, sounds very much like, Sam obviously loves Fallout 76. Why do you think the criticism to Andromeda was, as vitriolic as it was, and why do you think you liked it in spite of all that?
It's weird. I think hype kills video games a lot of the time.
Yeah, we've said that before as well. Yeah,
it really does. So I'm always a bit skeptical when a game is super hyped and people go, "This is the best game ever!" Rah rah rah. I'm usually a bit skeptical, and usually I go into that game with all that overhyped knowledge from people like peers and stuff. And I find myself being a bit deflated, like, well, this isn't what people were telling me it was. I started God of War, right? When all my friends were like, oh my God, God of War is the best thing. And I started, it's on my shelf, it's in my backlog. I played the first half an hour and I put it down, I've not gone back to it. Now, I don't know why. I'm just like, yeah, it's good, it looks good, it's functional. I like the whole Kratos and his son dynamic. But so far, I haven't had a desire to go back to it. And I don't know whether that's because I've had this bit of a deflation where it's been so overhyped that it's just kind of like, well, I was expecting this and I got this. I don't know how that works in my brain.
No, I think that's fair. No, I think that does happen a lot. Like, we've said before how the constant barrage of marketing materials you get thrown at you, combined with how early games get released, can be absolutely. It can absolutely ruin your anticipation for a game because by the time it comes out, you're like, I think I've played this already, just because you've got too much content. So I think that can be the same. It's we do the wrestling podcast as well. It's a lot of wrestling. If people tell you this is the best match you need to see the match, best match you ever, and you sit down to watch it, and it's good, you've already raised your expectations to a certain level that trying to get them back in check is almost impossible. Which is why the social media machine can be as helpful as it can be a hindrance, but. It's interesting you went the other way with me. Did you play Andromeda before the badness came?
No, I actually what made me pick that up was because basically I only played the first 3 Mass Effect games after Andromeda came out, for the first time ever, because my brother had the Xbox One and he had all 3, and I just played them using the backward compatibility on the Xbox One and just fell in love with the world and stuff. So I played them after that came out, and then I heard all the bad kind of like reception of Andromeda, kind of held off a bit, and I picked it up when it was cheap. And I think price goes a long way as well when you buy a game and get into a game. Price helps, I think, because it's the same with Watch Dogs as well. I bought Watch Dogs really cheap after all the controversy and stuff, and I loved that game. I played it, I rinsed it, so I think price helps. So I bought Mass Effect Andromeda for about £10, I think, and I thought for £10 it's a really good game, I can't really talk for the people that paid full price, but that's just me.
yeah, it's your story. And you paid £8 for it, Sam?
Yeah, I paid £8 for the deluxe edition. It was in January sale or something.
It just makes me laugh because at least one person a year ago, whatever it was, paid like £80 for that, and you're just picking it up for £8. It's like I understand that a lot of time has been removed, but I'm an asshole. I think the price of games. Well, that was always the argument, wasn't it? Because. I used to review games. I still do to a certain extent. So does Sam. I'm sure he can talk about this as well. But a lot of people say you have to take price into the argument. And, I mean, you do to a certain degree. But then by that same token, you also have to adjust your score the lower the price. So if a game comes out at £20, does that mean I have to be more lenient on it than a game that costs 50? I think it's quite a hard balance to make. But, of course, from a consumer point of view, the less you spend on something, the more you're going to let it get away with because you don't feel like you spent that much money. I don't know how you feel about it, Sam.
Yeah, it's hard because you don't want to, if something's really low price, you don't want to be like, this is a travesty. But if something is a travesty for £60, it is also a little more galling. It's just human nature, right? You just that's why I sympathise with the people who paid for Fallout 76, and because there's a lot of stuff too that I like, and I'm like, cool. And like, if you paid 60 quid, I was happy with the 50 quid I paid, because I got a lot out of it. But if you go in and you're like, this is really not good enough for my own standards, and I just parted ways with 60 quid for this, yeah, there's every reason to be upset. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you, but obviously on the flip side, Jason, we've got, you know, as a you know, when you buy something, if you had bought Andromeda say for 50 quid, do you think you'd been? Well, two questions. Do you think you'd been more pissed off with your purchase, or at least do you think you'd like it less? But also, if you had seen, when you see a review, do you expect them to take price into account, or are you like, well, that's not really for them to do? Because that is an argument. I remember when I was doing it, people said that all the time. They'd be like, oh, well, if you paid this much for it, you wouldn't like it as much. And then you go, yeah, but by that token, all mobile games are 10 out of 10 because they're free. Like, it's difficult to kind of judge.
See, I'm a bit like, I tend to contradict myself a lot, which is really bad. But it's weird because I say, like, yeah, price matters to some people, not necessarily to me. Maybe it does subconsciously, but I don't really think about it. Like, I either like it or I don't. It's as simple as that, really. When it comes to games, I've got to like the gameplay loop to keep. It's got to keep me playing with that gameplay loop, or have a narrative that I'm invested in for me to keep playing. So. Price probably does matter subjectively, so I'm just like, can I really afford, you know, £55 for a video game that is probably like, you know, is a new one next year, like, you know, Call of Duty, for instance, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm being really black and white here, but I find it, yeah, either I like it or I don't, you know. I'm trying to use an example of a game that's really highly rated that I don't like, but I can't think of any on the top of my head.
God of War, right? God of War fits into that category a little bit. Not that you don't like it, but that you were a bit like, man, it's all right. But, you know, I assume you paid 50 quid for God of War.
No, I got that on sale recently for about 25, I think. So I didn't even pay full price for it.
That's interesting, though, because I wonder if that will affect... I mean, I think that kind of does sum up at least one side of the argument a little bit, because you paid less, and yet, because it hasn't grabbed you, you feel like you don't want to spend... I think it's more of for me, it's more of an entertainment thing. Like, if I read somebody else's review and I want to take a punt on the game and then I play it and I think to myself, actually, this isn't for me, I don't then feel like I need to go back to the reviewer and say, dude, you didn't take price into consideration here. I think everyone's got a certain amount of entertainment pounds or dollars or, you know, finances to spend. And you've just got to, you know, go with your gut and go with what you can read, take a risk. And if it sucks, it sucks. Like, there's just nothing you can do about it. Same when you go see a movie. Like, apparently that new Holmes and Watson's movie that I want to see just because I like Will Ferrell, but apparently it is atrocious and people have walked out. But it's just, you got to learn. And maybe next time check the director, check the actors and go, maybe I want to, you know, second guess myself before walking in and dropping cash on it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, there you go. There's an argument that will go on. I already know that we get loads of people saying... that price has to come into it. But I think it's difficult. Like, how do you... Anyway, we need to talk about that. Other things we do want to get into, talking about more topical things that have come up. The first, I think it came out today, if not only a couple of hours before we started. But as Sam rightly predicted, as we was doing our podcast before the Game Awards, there is a new Alien game called Alien Blackout. It is real, no lies. Unfortunately, for some... it's a mobile game. Now, I quite like mobile games. If you went through our top 10 games of the year podcast, you know, a mobile game got into mine just to celebrate what mobile games have become in 2019. I think they can be really fun. But anyway, before we get into opinions, the headline is simple. It's coming to iOS and Android, developed by Fox Next Games. I don't know who that is. Also a place called D3 Go and Rival Games. I never heard of any of them. And the only blurb they've released so far is, the terror of Alien is brought to life in Alien Blackout. Try to stay alive while trapped aboard a crippled Weyland-Yutani space station carrying a deadly xenomorph. Blah, 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 blah. 7 fear-inducing levels. I mean, basically, you know, in terms of how it actually plays, I don't think we know. But I will say, and I haven't looked on social media yet. Usually I find myself diving into it eventually. But I would imagine there is some backlash to this just because people, again, set their own expectations. And if those expectations aren't met, they get upset, which I understand. Sam, I'll start with you because we did talk about it a few weeks ago. Your thoughts on Alien Blackout, A, being a mobile game, now if you actually want to play it or not.
Well, to quote a Diablo spokesperson, we all have phones, right? So, no, but like, to be honest, this isn't for me. but like you just. As soon as I heard it was for mobile, I was like, "Here we go! I can see the tweets coming. I can see the comments now." And it's like they didn't do any hype for this. It was leaked, I believe, and everyone made their own assumptions. It was Isolation 2, and we still may be getting a sequel to Isolation, but I don't think they've handled this badly. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, no,
because I'm already preempting that people are going to be pissed off because I assume they will be. But I don't think they've been like, oh, we're hyping it up. Oh, and it's a mobile game, bringing people down. I think it's just, it's a mobile game. I probably won't play it, but I'm cool with it existing. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no, I feel the same. Jason, do you have any opinions on Alien games in general? You anticipating this?
Considering Alien is my favourite movie of all time.
Yes, right, good. This is why you're on. Right, go nuts.
I'm probably going to play it because it's Alien. But like, I don't usually like mobile games at the best of times. I think the controls are tossed completely. The one thing they can do to guarantee that I'm going to be playing it from start to finish if they incorporate VR elements, so you can play it in like a mobile VR thing. And I'm all for that.
Like that Samsung thing, right? I've used that one before. I can't remember what the hell it's called, but it's good.
Yeah.
Do you have one of them, Jason?
I don't have a Samsung phone, so I can't use one of them.
But
I got a Google phone, so I don't know if Google's got a VR thing, right?
I imagine they all do. I just don't know. I don't know much about mobile VR, but I know I like VR, and I'm behind it and stuff. Did you play Alien Isolation? I guess you did. What did you think of that?
It was excellent. It was excellent, and it was Nope at the same time.
How do you mean?
Like, I don't want to be hunted by that thing. Are you joking?
Oh, right. See, I couldn't play it.
Nope, as in like Nope, get away from me.
Oh, Nope. I thought you said Mope, like with an M. I thought it was like I thought it was some cool slang that I'd never heard of. I was like, I am old, so it's 99%. I don't know what this means. No, I even I, as a man that doesn't like scary games. And I like the Alien movies, but, I would never talk about it as passionately as you did. Even I thought Isolation was really good. That's why I can kind of understand why. I get it. People react to things. All of a sudden you see mobile game and you think, oh, that means no Isolation 2, no PS4, Xbox One game, no PS5, whatever. That's the reaction that people have. And you take a step back and you go, oh, okay. And then people worry about microtransactions, and I understand the thing. But I think it's a market that obviously gets bigger every year. And, as Sam said, like, it was released or leaked by other people. It wasn't leaked by them, and now they probably, given it a few weeks after the Game Awards, let things settle and go, hey, here it is. And all we have at the moment is a few screenshots which I've just found. One says outsmart the alien. The other says before the power goes out, will you survive? Command your crew to safety. So maybe there's some kind of strategy elements here too. But I mean, I think it kind of says a lot that, Jason, you said that you're not into mobile games massively, but you still would give this one a go. Would you give this one a go if it still cost you money? Like, let's say it's not free to play and it's like 10 quid. Would you drop 10 quid on it?
Probably not, if I'm honest.
What about if it gets rave reviews? What if everyone says it's the best mobile game ever, you got to play it, but it costs, there's a premium price to it?
See, it goes back to my earlier statement where if it's got rave reviews, I'm expecting a masterpiece. Then it probably won't be a masterpiece in my brain when I play it. But this is a waste of money.
That's true. But actually, that ties into what we were just talking about, right? So it goes to show it's not about money. It's not about it's not about price. It's about your expectations and how that delivers next to your price.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, that's coming out. I don't know when. That is literally all we have. I imagine it. I mean, mobile games don't usually have big windows, though, do they? Usually they announce them and you get some information and they're out. So maybe this is this month, next month. I don't know.
The mobile market is a juggernaut. I think the mobile market made like $70 billion last year, in just mobile sales. It's ridiculous.
Well, I like it. I like mobile games. Like I don't sink money into the microtransactions like some people do, but I certainly enjoy having the ability to play games on my phone. I do it a lot now. Like, I just do. What can I say? There's something about it that I enjoy. So it's doing something right. And the other news that I thought was interesting to talk about, and I don't know if anybody else has any information, I found what I could, was that Second Dinner Games, which are a team of former Blizzard employees, are making a Marvel game. Now, we have, I don't know. That's all I know. I mean, that's all I've got. It's their first project. How that ties in with all the Square Enix stuff, massively confuses me because I thought they were doing an Avengers. I understand Avengers is not Marvel, but I would have, for me, before we know more about that, it seems odd to all of a sudden shift the focus away from it a little bit. But yes, a new game in the Marvel universe, and that's all we've got. And I don't know who these former Blizzard devs are. I've never heard of Second Living Games. I know this is their first project. But yeah, I mean, it could be anything. It could be a mobile phone game itself. I don't know.
Well,
sorry.
They are Hearthstone devs, so the money would be on the mobile game, I believe. And I think it's just going to be a complementary game because you'd always have I think the Avengers as the main project, and this would be something to complement Marvel fans, I believe. That would be my theory at least, because with the Hearthstone devs and their experience, I assume they're not going to be making an action RPG. You know what I mean?
But do you think it's going to be like Hearthstone then? Do you think you're going to?
I think it might be something deck building, something like that.
How the hell would you do that with Marvel? I mean, of course there'll be a way. I'm just not thinking.
Just top trumps.
Imagine, so not only does it have Blizzard's name attached to it, not only does it have Hearthstone, it's got Marvel, and they just come out with top trumps and go, there you go. we did that in a week. Jason, what were you going to say about it?
I was going to say I assumed that the Marvel Spider-Man game was the beginning of a interconnecting Marvel video game universe. So like the Spider-Man one will tie in with the Avengers game, and etc. etc. But they're being made by different developers. That's what I assumed the whole thing was. Like Spider-Man was the start of that interconnecting kind of game universe. I could be mistaken though.
No, I think it makes sense, right? Like when you've had that much success doing movies, why on earth wouldn't you try and capitalize on that with video games? Like I think that makes perfect sense. The problem obviously is politics. Unless Marvel have said to these people they're giving their projects to that, we have the final say. If we want to make changes to, tie into X, Y, and Z, you've got to do it. Then, I just think it'd be really, really difficult. But I just don't know what this could be. I mean, I think, Sam, you probably didn't realize they were Hearthstone devs, so you've got to imagine that's probably why they've left to do something similar. And let's face it, that's a cash cow, right? Hearthstone makes a ridiculous amount of money. So it makes sense that it's a genre you want to tap into.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. I still find it bizarre, going off what you just said there, Jason, that the Marvel games haven't come faster and quicker. But maybe that's a good thing, because that's what would have happened 10 years ago, and you don't get the same, 15 years ago, and you don't get the same kind of experience that we have done with Batman, Spider-Man, and I still got to wait to see what Rocksteady's doing. Why don't I know what Rocksteady's doing? I would like to know by this juncture.
Do you think it's another Batman? Because I thought they're done with Batman, though. I thought Knight was the last one.
Well, they said that, but as a man that likes Batman, as a man that's like Rocksteady, I'm fine with them doing another one. It's much like how I feel about Christian Bale when he played Batman, or Michael Keaton. I was like, just be Batman forever. Don't take on other movie roles. Just do this. Now we're like, I don't want to be typecast. I'm like, be typecast. It's fine. You're really good at it. You make loads of people happy. Just do that. And I'd be happy with Rocksteady do the same thing. I mean, I'd be amazed if Rocksteady weren't making a Superman game just because of how much that has come out with rumors and whatnot. Like, if all of a sudden they came out and said, oh no, he's not in it at all. I'd be like, well, that's a bit odd. But yeah, like so go on, man.
Because how would they make a Superman game? Because obviously the general rules of a video game, like a fail state, that's like one of the general rules for a video game. How would they make a game revolving around this super character who is literally pretty much invulnerable? How would you make a game where you can fail?
Yeah, that's the trouble, right? That's why no Superman game has ever been good, because it's just so hard to do anything with him.
But
you can't make the world huge because he can fly.
That's the thing, right? You need to make the world massive, which apparently is not a problem anymore in 2019, because that's what everybody makes anyway. But I think you hit the nail on the head there. Just get rid of the failing thing. Like, people go nuts when I say this, but I have given up playing games for a challenge a long time ago, and 9 times out of 10, before I even start, I put a game on easy, because I'm not playing it for a challenge. I'm enjoying it because I enjoy the mechanics, I enjoy the story, I enjoy the gameplay, whatever. Like, but to some people, and please do weigh in if anyone feels differently. But I don't. Some people do, and if you are one of these people, to some people, it's still that old thing about high scores or beating the boss character or game over screens, and I respect that massively. I'm not saying that's a problem. I think there should be a balance. I think there should be options for everyone, and some games should try and balance the two. But yeah, for me personally, I don't need that anymore. So if you are going to make a Superman game, it's a risk. Because you're probably taking out a large portion of your audience that doesn't want this. But there is no game overs. There is no fail states. There is no there's a challenge, but it'll be a challenge in a different way. But he won't die. He won't get killed. He'll just go around. He'll kick everybody's ass. You'll feel really good doing it because it feels good to kick people's ass, and then you go do it again. It's the one thing we've never tried with Superman, right? We've never actually made a game for the character as opposed to make a Superman game, and focus on the game part. So I say focus on the narrative, focus on the ideals that brought him to the dance originally, which was, hey, this guy's really good and he can do whatever he wants, and then just see what happens from there. That's what I would do anyway. But it all depends.
Yeah. Going back to your statement on wanting an experience rather than a challenge per se, that is exactly why I love Journey so much, because it's like 2 hours of perfection.
See, that's weird. And Sam, I don't actually know what you think of Journey. I didn't like Journey. How weird is that? I couldn't get into Journey, but I think it's because of what you were talking about earlier, Justin. I played that about a year after it had been released, and I thought I was in for like a Shadow of the Colossus level of mind, but I thought it was going to be the best game I've ever played, and the music's going to make me cry. And I started playing. I'm like, I love this, but I knew straight away that it's been ruined for me by people, talking. They talk too powerfully about it, and I knew really soon this isn't going to live up to what I want. So I just stopped because I thought I'm not going to do it. I actually always meant to return to it because I thought I'm not going to do this justice. So maybe one day I'll return to it. Yeah, Sam, did you play Journey? I'm guessing you did. That seems like a game you would play.
No, I don't know anything about it, to be fair, because it's always one of those ones like, yeah, you got to play it. And I'm like, okay. And I never got around to it.
See, I didn't play it until like 5 years after it came out. I got it on PS4 for on sale for like £4. I'm just like, I might as well see what the fuss is all about. And 2 hours later, it's literally my second favorite game of all time. I love it to pieces. It's so minimal. It's so relaxing. It's like Legend of Zelda without the combat. It's just
that sounds amazing.
It's surreal. It takes you on a journey for definitely. Like, I don't want to go into spoilers or anything, but it's just one location to another. It just gets more beautiful. It's one of the best looking games ever made. I wrote this article for a website called gamerpros.co about art design in video games and how games don't have to be photorealistic to look amazing. And Journey was my prime example for how gorgeous that game looks.
Yeah.
And it's just the world it's created and stuff. It's just one of the best 2 hours you can experience, in my opinion.
It's crazy. It's only 2 hours. Like, you think I'd be able to sit through it for 2 hours, and I didn't do it. That's just embarrassing, isn't it? What a lazy so-and-so I am.
Well, to be fair, that is like watching a film that you don't want to watch. It's still like 2 hours is still saying that if you don't want to do it, it's like, ugh.
No, it's true. It's true. I do always intend, but then again, I got to the last 15 minutes of Portal and never got back to finishing it. So that kind of sums up what I do with these games. I got a friend of mine is still mad about that. He's still mad. He's right to be mad. But yeah, it's nothing I've ever done. I do have a few questions that I got from the community that I will ask in a minute if we need to. Not if we need to, but if we have time. But I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. Sam, are you playing anything at the moment? Anything new? Anything different? Is there anything new or maybe old on your gaming agenda?
It's Dragon Age, isn't it?
Still, what?
Obviously Fallout as well, but I don't want to be that guy going on about it every week. Dragon Age as well.
But they're two massive games you're playing simultaneously. I don't know how you're doing it.
No. But like when the friends are online, you switch to Fallout. When no friends are online, you switch to Dragon Age. Gosh, there you go. That's how you manage your time.
How far are you into Dragon Age now?
It's hard to tell because seems like things are gearing up to be important, but it's like I'm not, because I'm doing a lot of hours, but not into much of the critical path stuff. Yeah. So I don't think I'm that far into the story, and I'm not unlocked that many areas. So it's just sort of like because I want to be like the highest recommended level before heading into each main mission bit. So yeah, but yeah, I don't mind if it continues for another 50, 100 hours. So
I'm amazed, man. Have you had any sort of the story? Because I had a few, but I didn't get into the nitty gritty to get all the twists and turns that BioWare obviously like to do in those games. Have you had any of those life-defining choices where you go off in a completely different direction?
Well, there's two sides you can side with, but I've not seen the consequences of that action yet, just because I made that decision and did the first quest with either, because you can side with the Mages of the Templars. I've done that, but obviously not seen the ramifications of stuff just yet.
There you go. Well, you played it a lot longer than me, man. I was done Again, another game I couldn't get into. I think I just got old really quickly. And anything that required any of my attention span, I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm out. Jason,
it's one of those games. Like, if you're not feeling it, it's just like, you can't sort of rush through it and be like, oh, I'll just do this real quick.
Exactly, and it was just like, it was too. I don't enjoy it. It's the MMO side of it. I didn't like. I don't want like wandering into areas I'm not supposed to be in, and then having my ass kicked. I always have a trouble with that because I'm just not good at video games. It's the basic reason. So when I keep dying over and over again, which probably ties into my thing I was talking about earlier, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm upset. But I'll see what they do with the next one. Who knows? Jason, what are you playing at the moment?
I'm playing through Dark Souls 3 with my friend, co-op. He's pretty much a complete Dark Souls nutjob, and he's got this really OP character, and he's basically just running me through it. I don't have to do any of the challenge. I'm just experiencing the game, which is great because I suck at those games, so that's fun.
It's not the first time you've played Dark Souls, though, right? You knew what you were in for.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
What do you think about them in general? You suck at them, but do you like them? I guess you must like them to a certain point.
I think they're really competent action RPGs. I feel like it's a bit of a shame that they're only known for their difficulty, because I think they've got a lot more merits than just their difficulty. I think the world is really beautiful that they've built, and I'm really surprised we haven't got a Demon Souls remaster, because I think we need it, because that's where I kind of got into the series. Was that first game?
Did you play Blood-Borne?
I did. I've got it. I didn't beat it though, because I don't really persevere with really hard games. But yeah, Blood-Borne's probably my favourite out of the whole franchise in terms of Souls Born, or whatever they call in the genre. I love the whole Gothic, kind of Victorian Gothic London kind of setting. Yeah. It's really cool. And I've been playing the PlayStation Classic as well recently.
Oh well, right. Well, we got to talk about that, because I mean, I don't want to say it's controversial. That's a bit much, but a lot of people do have problems with it. What do you think about it? I mean, I guess we know he's got special memories for you, because obviously you made that jump. So the PlayStation 2 was like opening your eyes into a whole new world. But what's it like in 2019 looking back?
Me and my cousin, who I talk to a lot about video games, is like one of my best friends. We've always said that early 3D video games are gonna date really badly, and a lot of these games on this system date really badly. It doesn't mean they play badly, though. It just means they look awful. But like, yeah, I can understand people's issues with the system. Like, most of the games are in PAL, so that they don't run as well as they could have done. But then again, we only had 50 hertz here, so I don't see why that should matter to the European audience really too much, because they play exactly how I remember them playing, so it's not too much of an issue. But yeah, I think it does what it's meant to do. Like, it's meant to take you back to a time and play on your nostalgia, and I think it succeeds at that. You boot it up and you have that like whirling noise that I can't even describe what that noise is, that the PlayStation does, because it's got the Sony Entertainment logo.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It does that. I just get butterflies in my stomach. Like, I remember those days. Those were the days. But yeah, I think it does what it sets out to do. I just feel it's a shame that there's really crazy games that I think should be on there that are not on there. And then some games that are on there that I think, like, why is that on there for? That's weird.
Well, that was my next question. What do you think about because I was never a big PlayStation guy anyway. I was a Nintendo guy. We talked about this before. But my main issue with the Classic was there's no games on there that I want. They don't feel like the games I would even, see as synonymous with the PlayStation.
Mm. See, obviously, I had a conversation with a friend about this, and no matter what the lineup was going to be, it's not going to please everybody, because everybody grew up with maybe a different collection of games for that system. No one's going to have all the same games that, So what I think of the PlayStation would be, X, Y, and Z. That wouldn't be the same for someone else. Like, when I think of the PlayStation, the two games that come to mind the most is Metal Gear Solid and Dino Crisis 2, because I played those to death when I was a kid. So I was really hoping Capcom would throw their hat in the ring and go, "Here's Dino Crisis 2, everyone!" Yay! No, it's not there. God damn it, it's not there. Like, there's games on there like Jumping Flash. Never played it. Final Fantasy 7, played it for about 5 minutes. When I was younger, I didn't really get into Final Fantasies that much. There's not really the only game that I said they've got to have this on the system or I'm not buying it, which is Metal Gear Solid. And thankfully they thought the same and they got that on there. That plays fine. That plays wonderfully, and it's quite surprising because you're just like 20 years old at this point.
I tell you what, as well, over Christmas and New Year, I saw a lot of people tweeting out that they were playing Metal Gear Solid on their classics.
Damn right.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of saved that thing. I don't know how well it did. Sam, do you know how well it sold? Do you get any figures or anything?
No, I have no idea.
No, yeah, but I mean, I think that saved it to a certain extent. I think I say if social media currency, which is not really anything to go by, a lot of people were happy they could just play Metal Gear Solid over Christmas. I just have interest as well because obviously you mentioned your nostalgia for that. Does that mean you never played Nintendo consoles when you were a kid? You went the other way? Because I know most people went one of two directions.
See, like I say I skipped generation, but it's not like I didn't play the consoles. I had friends or family members that had that had them. Like I had a cousin who had the Mega Drive, and I had my uncle. He would come over when I was a kid, and he used to bring his Super Nintendo, and he had Mortal Kombat 3 and Super Mario World. And I used to creep downstairs at like really early hours in the morning to play it, and then get told off. It's like, damn it! I just want to play Super Mario World. But like, it's weird because I did play those systems, but I was never like blown away by them. It's weird, like but maybe I just don't really remember being blown away by them.
So right now, and this is actually a question we got, but I just use it now because it works. Does that mean like if you had to sort of get rid? So obviously got the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, and the Nintendo Switch. If you had to get rid of one, would you get rid of it? Do you not really feel the Switch because of that?
Oh, I've got a Switch. I love my Switch. The Switch is great. But
do you like it more than your PlayStation 4 and Xbox One?
I don't have an Xbox One. Xbox One's toss.
Right. So you answered that question there. Don't need to do that again. Oh dear. Why? I mean, out of the Xbox One. Actually, before we do it, Sam, there you go. That is one of the questions. What would you get rid of? You had to get rid of one console. It's weird though, isn't it? Because on paper it should be brilliant, but it's just not. I don't get it. I mean, I think my problem with the Xbox One, I will say this, and I'm sure, big Xbox fans, fair play to you, roll their eyes.
My brother.
Well, it's so hard to use. Like, navigating the menus, it feels like it's a console that's not finished. Like, on the PlayStation 4, it's so easily mapped out, so easy to find. I know they've stuck with the thing they've done for years, but still it works. And then with the Xbox One, anytime I want to do something on it, because I'm the same as you guys, I don't play it anywhere near as much as my other consoles. When I try and do anything, I struggle to find what the hell I'm meant to do or where it's supposed to be. Yeah. Is that just me or am I stupid?
No, I think it's the same. Yeah. It's like I think a lot of it is hidden out of your sight, so you have to go into menus to look for where you need to go for a lot of it. And I think from that perspective, not just from someone who's just used to PS4, I got way more used to the PS4 starting off than I did with the Xbox. I still don't really know what I'm doing with the Xbox. Like when someone asks me like, "Oh, could you invite someone to the party?" I'm just like,
Yeah, exactly. What do you do? Yeah.
There was one game that almost made me buy an Xbox One. And that was Scalebound, and then they cancelled it, and I'm just like, oh well, I'm not getting your console now then.
Honestly though, right, 2 points there. One, Rise, the best game ever made. Just want to point that out there. I gave that an 8 out of 10 when it came out. Stand by it. The amount of hate I got. Oh, that was funny. That was funny. I love that video game. But two, so go on, man.
I was gonna say I enjoyed that game for what it was.
Yeah, I did. I mean, look, if you went in with high expectations, yeah, it's a short. It's a graphic game, but I liked it. But you mentioned Scalebound as well. Just to quickly talk about the Xbox One. Doesn't that just sum it up? They had an exclusive that people wanted to play, which they do not have. I'll never get over the fact they allowed Sony to have Spider-Man as an exclusive. It's the stupidest thing I can imagine any company doing when Marvel is so successful in the movie world. But do you find you are confused that Microsoft don't have any exclusives, especially when they're dropping ones you actually wanted to play?
Yeah, and I feel sorry for Xbox gamers because there's so many exclusives on the PlayStation that everyone needs to play, man. Like, Spider-Man is a great example. Obviously God of War is a big hit on the PlayStation, but that's obviously PlayStation exclusive, so you don't see that. But I mean, like games that have exclusivity rights that could obviously be like, obviously Nier Automata eventually came to the Xbox One, which is, if more people can play certain games, it's great. The more the merrier, in my opinion. I'm not really the one to say like my console's the best. Yeah, I've got all the games. That's bollocks. Like I generally feel that the more of us that can play a game is the best thing to come out of gaming. Really, like that's why Journey is only on PlayStation. Why can't that be on Xbox? Because everyone needs to play that, in my opinion. There's been tons of games like that on PlayStation. Neo, the Dark Souls on a Musha mashup game, that's really good. Yeah, I can go on and on and on, but yeah, it's a shame.
No, I think it's fair. And I think, by complete accident, we've killed off the Xbox One. So that's the end of that. We'll go through these questions just to finish off, and we'll just go round robin. We kind of talked about this last week, but I do enjoy the spin that's been put on this. If you could only pick one game to play in 2019, what would it be? Sam, you can go first because I haven't got an answer yet.
I think, Outer Worlds was my pick anyway, but I think it's also doubly a pick because I assume that's going to have a whole load of content. So I assume if I got it now, I could maybe not for the whole year, day in, day out, but like you'd get the most use out of the Outer Worlds, I would anticipate.
I've decided as well that's going to be Obsidian's game. You know how they've always had these like near misses? Like Fallout New Vegas was great, but it wasn't theirs. And, Alpha Protocol should have been better, but Sega never really got behind it, and there were issues with the development, and the name is awful. I think Outer Worlds is... I know they did all the Fallout stuff before as well, but I think this is going to be their modern day... stamp their flag in the sand and build a new franchise off of it. I looked up at it after you talked about it last week to get more, and I think for everything that you mentioned what they want to do, it looks like that's exactly what they're trying to do. Jason, yours.
I have two, only solely because I don't know if one of them is coming out this year. I don't know. We've not been given a release date. So the one that's definitely coming out this year, not too long away, which is Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that game. Can't wait.
Have you played? Did you play the first one, with the original one?
I've played all of them. I love it. It's one of my favorite franchises. Like, except for 6. 6 sucks. Don't play 6.
Everyone hates 6.
Yeah, Resident Evil 2 looks incredible. The gore physics and the way you pump holes into zombies and the way they react just looks incredible. And their RE engine just keeps impressing me every time I see new footage. It's just one of the best looking games I've seen for 2019 for sure. And my other game, because we haven't got a release date, which is Last of Us Part 2, because The Last of Us is one of the best games ever made, and I want to play more. So.
Sam, did you play Sam, I can't remember what you said. What was your point about The Last of Us? You think it's overrated, right?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Yeah, no, that's fine, because I couldn't remember what you said about it. It was 90% that's the case. So, because it's weird, we kind of have three ends of the spectrum here, because obviously Sam thinks it's overrated. I love the first one. I agree with you, Jason. I think it's one of the best games ever made. However, I have found myself not interested in the sequel at all, because I feel like everything I needed that game to do, it's already done. Is it a case for you that you just kind of want more of that because you enjoyed it so much?
Yeah, it's weird because my opinion, I even spoke, because me and my cousin we're massive fans of this game, and we speak about this a lot, where it's one of those games that doesn't need a sequel, but you kind of still want one. Like,
yeah, I get it.
It could have ended on that, because it ends on a facial expression, doesn't it, on her face?
Yeah. Where
he's like, "Are you telling the truth?" He's like, "Yeah." She's just like, "Okay," and it ends. I'm just like, that was immense. And I'm like, because I think sometimes sequelitis does kind of ruin games and stuff. But obviously, sequelitis is a money-making machine, no doubt. But yeah, that could have been the end of that franchise, and I would have been satisfied, because you always can just replay that and still love it. Because I've played it about 3 times, and it's just still great every playthrough. But yeah, when they announced the sequel, I was just like, I'm a win. I'm in both feet. I'm in.
I've got
day one purchase.
I got to feel that maybe next year. I think that I have this bizarre theory now that's going to be a launch game for PS5. Don't know why. I just
take my money now.
Well, exactly. There you go. That's why. I would just tie into sequelitis that you just said. I pick Gears 5. I'm not even that massively excited about it, but I got to know what they're going to do. So I can only pick one. It had to be Gears 5 just from an intrigue point of view. We also got this, nice and simple. Given that Sony are not going to be at E3 this year, is E3 dead? Sam, you can start with that one. Nice, pleasant, positive question for you.
I was not anticipating going first.
I go first if you want.
Well, E3's not. I don't think E3's ever going to be dead, right? You got to have like a certain amount of years of it being trash before it's dead. Like, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be dead. You've got to have a few years where it's like there's nothing good that's come out of it, because it's always going to be big announcements, because that's what people expect. Like, if Sony doesn't make big announcements, you bet whoever is going to be there is still going to make big announcements. Sony doesn't run the games industry. Like,
exactly.
They've got exclusives, but like Microsoft could blow out the water. You don't know. Nintendo will obviously be there. All the third party people will be there. So no, it's not dead.
You took the words out of my mouth, because I was going to say, I get it, but Sony are a huge part of it, but they are not games. All these people, I thought it was a bit much. Jason, what's your opinion on E3?
It's funny because I only watch the Sony conference.
Oh, it's dead to you then.
But pretty much. Like Nintendo's not there. Now PlayStation's not going to be there. What do we have? We have obviously maybe EA, Ubisoft, Bethesda, and the PC Gaming Show, which nobody watches. So for me, I'm just like, there's not really much interest because Ubisoft churn out the same game but with a different skin every year.
That is true. I'll second that. Yes, they do.
EA can die in a fire for all I care, and yeah, I think I got a feeling Bethesda is probably going to be booed off stage this year.
Well, dude, I want to talk about why EA should die in a fire. I'm much more interested in that. What did EA do, man? They made your favorite game ever. You can't EA to die in a fire.
That's when they were good, though. That's when they gave a shit. Now it's just like, give us all the money.
Well, yeah, you can't. It's difficult to. The Battlefield 2 thing didn't help with that. Battlefront 2, sorry, Battlefront 2.
And they're going against governments now as well. It's just like, you've got to take the loot boxes out of your game. It's like, no, we're not. It's like, well, you're going to go to prison now. It's like, we don't care. We're going to stand by our loot boxes. It's like, come on, guys, man. Like, everyone else is moved away from that. You're just like, I'm standing, defending loot boxes. It's like, just stop.
Isn't it crazy? Because that is the general consensus towards EA, and yet they're still raking billions of dollars. It's so weird, isn't it? It is so weird.
Their sports franchises must be doing them so well.
I know this is the other thing as well, because obviously this week they announced FIFA numbers for the UK. I can't remember the exact ones, but it was something like last year FIFA did 2.5 million copies, and this year it did 2.3 million copies. And everyone's like, sales are down. Like, okay, you are technically correct, but I'm pretty sure EA is still sat there going, okay, we sold 2.3. It's not that much. I can't remember the exact figures, but the drop was about 200,000 copies, and of course 200,000 copies is a lot of copies. I'm not saying otherwise, but it's a bit like
kind of deck chair off the Titanic, though. Like
100%, 100%. It's like when everybody thought it was the end of Call of Duty because it only sold 15 million copies worldwide. It was like, it's really good. Like nothing else actually comes close to that. And it could just be one of those years. Like video games that do come out yearly, especially sports games, do have dip years, and then next year it's all good again, and everyone loves it because people take a break because they're happy with the one they've already got. That's the nature of the beast. But yeah, interesting company. Yeah, like the most divisive people.
Here's the problem with EA as a public owned entity. I'm kind of taking words from Jim Sterling here, but he was basically saying like they've got to one up themselves they've got to basically make a $1 billion profit every time they put out a game. They've got to break records because their shareholders, that's what they want. So they've always got to up themselves. So Jim Sterling was saying that, because I totally agree with the guy. I think the guy's awesome. Basically, that's got to crash at some point, and the shareholders have got to be like, well, I guess they can't make $1 billion every time they put out a game, like breaking. They've got to one up themselves every time, and that's got to pop at one point, right?
Of course it does. Nothing's sustainable, but you're right. I mean, I guess that's the problem with. I mean, again, that's the argument as well, isn't it? Who are you serving? Are you serving the consumer, or are you serving the stockholders? And the real answer is you have to serve both, because it's almost like the hand that feeds each other, right? Like in the modern day climate, you need both, otherwise you're not going to succeed unless you're very lucky. But it's it's unlikely. So I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult, and there's nothing wrong with shouting Jim Sterling out on here. I got no problem with Jim Sterling. I like him a lot. Good friend of mine. So he's all right. I think I'll probably leave this one to you two the most, but this guy says, I have played most of Kojima's games, and I still ask myself the question, why do people love Kojima? There you go. Nice and simple. Sam, why do people love Kojima?
I don't think I've played a Kojima game, to be honest.
There we go.
But, yeah, I mean, I guess people love him because there's a lot of people that get loved because nobody does what they do as well as they do it. And I think if anyone tried to be like Kojima, it'd be like, no, that makes way too much sense. That's way too logical. And like Kojima just has this brain that thinks up this stuff that like nobody can think of. Like, could you imagine anyone thinking of the plot to Metal Gear Solid? Like,
dude, I don't know what the plot to Metal Gear Solid is.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. I don't know that either.
Only Kojima knows.
But you like Metal Gear Solid, though, right, Jason? So
I like this. This is going to probably get hate comments all over, but I like the first game and I like the fourth game.
I like the fourth game. Now the fourth game is good.
Yeah, I thought it was a good kind of step up from Snake Eater. and I really struggled to get into the fifth game. Really struggled because it just seemed to rinse and repeat the same stuff over and over and over and over and over until I just got bored. And I've got this opinion of like when a game stops being fun, stop playing it. Simple as that, really. So,
yeah, no, I agree. That's the best way to do it. Absolutely the best way to do it. I think it was too open, Metal Gear Solid 5. My favourites, I mean, I'm with you. I like 2 and I like 1, but I like 2 and 4 as well. Anyone hates 2, I like it. I think it's a good game. But impossible to play now, I will point out. Absolutely impossible to play. I think the thing with Kojima, I mean, I think Kojima's pushing his luck with Death Stranding. I mean, from what I've seen of that game, that really is an absolute, I'm not going to say it's a joke, but I think I just need more information on it soon. But that one could be the straw that breaks the camel's back, but we'll see. Last question is simple, and I didn't write the names down for any of these, so sorry if you did ask me these questions. I should have written down, but I didn't. Where is Borderlands 3? That's nice and to the point. I haven't played any of the Borderlands games. I did play Tales of the Borderlands, a Telltale one, which I actually thought was quite funny, even though I didn't really understand all of the characters and stuff. But I would presume we will get an announcement of Borderlands 3 this year, or that would be my guess anyway. Yeah.
Well, it's coming, right? I think everyone knows it's coming. It's just a case of when, not if. I guess that was the question, so that's not very helpful.
Do you play Borderlands, Sam? I don't know what you're.
Yeah, I dipped in and out. I can't remember if I ever finished them, and if so, then I can't remember what the ending was. But yeah, they were good. Yeah, I played some again because if it's multiplayer as well and that same focus, then absolutely I'll play it.
Jason,
I played the first one briefly. I like to joke and say it was Destiny before Destiny.
I hate Destiny. Don't say that. I hate Destiny so much.
Yeah, so do I. That's right. I'm with you there.
Why didn't you stick with it though? You played the first one, just wasn't for you.
I played quite a lot of the first one, but I just, another game will come out and I get that. I'm like I said, I've got a short attention span with video games, so I don't really stick to one game for too long. Once I've kind of had my feel, so to speak, I kind of move on. So yeah, that's. But the real question is though, when will Gearbox admit that Alien Colonial Marines was a bad game? That's the question I want.
I don't think they can they? Because like lawsuits and shit, wasn't there? So I think if they did that, they'd probably be shooting themselves in the foot. That whole thing sounds out. Didn't someone recently find some code that was screwed up in the back end or something, and they changed it and it made the game better? Was that Aliens Colonial Marines?
Yeah, it made the AI a bit more kind of intelligent, but not by much, I don't think, from what I've heard.
Ridiculous. Oh, that game. I was excited about that game as well. I thought that game sounded good on paper.
I pre-ordered that game.
Did you?
Wait for me.
What did you think when it came through?
It's funny because the day before I got my copy, my friend was like, I've pre-ordered Aliens Colonial Marines. He's like, don't do it. It's really bad. I was like, oh. So I played through the whole game. I beat it.
And?
Because I felt like I had to. Yeah, it's bad, but I don't think it's like the worst thing ever made, like it's being touted.
Yeah. I think a lot of that was to do with all the shifts in who was developing it and, everything like that. Yeah, the downgrading and all of that. Well, there you go. That came out a long time ago now as well, didn't it? I'm going to look this up now and it's going to make me really sad.
2012, yeah.
My gosh, it's literally, I mean, it's not, but it's kind of almost 10 years old, almost, not really.
We were so young back then.
I don't want to think about it. It makes me sad. It makes me upset. Right, okay, we're coming up to the hour. So I think for everyone listening, no, we've never done a three-way podcast before, so I'm actually quite proud of that. That was really hard. That was really hard because you can't see. We do it on Skype, so you can't see anyone. I was like, oh man, I thought that worked really well. Jason, am I right in saying there's something you want to plug before we say goodbye?
Yes, that'd be cool. Actually,
please do.
I run a podcast called Podcast in Stone. It's a podcast dedicated to my favourite bands. They are an American heavy metal band called Iced Earth.
Oh, man. We've talked about this. I love Iced Earth. I love Iced Earth.
So good. We've become kind of like a bit of a boom in the Iced Earth community. We've been going for about a year and a half, about 17 months or so. And what we've achieved in that time has been ungodly. It's ridiculous. We're pretty much endorsed by the band at this point. We've had interviews with the whole current members of the bands, including John Schaefer. Just recently, New Year's Day, we put out a 4-hour interview with him, which is ridiculous. And it's just been an incredible ride for something so niche. Like, I'm really surprised people are watching, even though we're so tiny and niche. And yeah, and to speak to these people that I looked up to since I was a teenager is mind-boggling. So if you want to check that out, anyone's a fan, youtube.com/podcastingstone is the place to go. So yeah, thanks.
That's all good, man. I will. You send me the detail. I've got the details, but send them in anyway, and I will make sure I tweet that as well. So we will give that a plug. That. So, and look, as a man that likes Iced Earth, if you have never heard Iced Earth, but you like silly metal, you should go listen to. Well, I shouldn't say silly. What's the best word I'm looking for? Crazy metal's probably better. They're brilliant. Just go and check them out. They're a crazy. My friend Ash probably watches your stuff. To be honest, he's obsessed with Iced Earth. He must have come across you at some point. All right, cool. Right, that's that. We'll draw it to a close. So, as always, you can get Sam at Sam Bishop 3Ps and a 1 on Twitter. Yep. Sam, anything else you want to pimp out this week, or is it just that? I always like to check. I don't want to, not.
No, just pimping out happiness.
That's all anybody needs. It is all anybody needs. That is literally it. I'm on Simon316 at Instagram and Twitter. Obviously, podcast. Is it In Stone or On Stone? Podcast In Stone, right?
In Stone, yes.
Yeah, podcast In Stone. You've got a Twitter or anything like that you want to throw out there?
No, Twitter is a cancer of the internet. Don't do that stuff. Sorry.
No, dude. There ain't nothing wrong with that, my friend. Like it's sometimes that can be a difficult place. But yeah, make sure you go check that out. And as always, this will be up on youtube.com/The Miller Report Rules. In case you would rather get the content that way, you absolutely can. All supported by patreon.com/Simon316. I wouldn't be able to do it without people such as Jason and Sam. So please do help out if you can. What else do you do? I don't even know. If you're on iTunes, give us 5 stars, give us a review. That's about it. That's all I've got. We will be back next week. Actually, there may be some cool stuff with Resident Evil. Sam, I need to talk to you about that. I don't know whether you've seen what Capcom's doing for Resident Evil. Did you see that tweet they put out earlier?
No.
Well, they may be doing a horror house. So, yeah, because that's something I think you could be invited to. So if you're going and I'm going, there you go. There's an episode right there. So we will find out what happens with that. And Jason, my friend, thank you so much for your time and coming on, dude, especially because you joined us in this pilgrimage that we've never done before.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
No, dude, it's a pleasure, man. We'll have to get you back on in the future too. But yeah, thanks for listening. And yeah, we'll be back next week.